Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Monday, August 10th, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Monday's always weekly news and announcement day. Do we have any news? Do we have any announcements? Well, we do have an announcement in that our good buddy, right? Who was it? It was Article Justicar, huh? Yeah. Article Justicar. One was given a virtual Gamehole Con badge. You know, I think that's now 3, 6, 9, 10 different badges, plus my own. So there's 11 of us that will be in attendance at virtual Gamehole Con. That means that as long as if each of us took a turn at DMing, then morning growling, then we could have 2 games going, right, with 4 or 5 players, and run 4 slots throughout each day, and we'd only have to each DM once a day. And we'd all be playing the entire time, and we would all be playing, right? We'd all be running games every day. We'd each run a game. We'd have 4 slots. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only 8. We could have 5 slots with 2 games going in each slot. I don't know. We'll have to check out how their slots break down. Maybe we should do some sort of a schedule. You know, I keep talking about fixing this damn chroma key screen. Maybe that's what we ought to do today. Is play around with the settings on this green screen. So one of the things, so this is just the base color, right? This is not, it's a custom color. All right, I'm just going to switch it to the original green. So this is their default green that I'm using. And that's messing with the similarity, smoothness. Nothing smooth about anything I'm doing. Key color spill reduction. Are these actual opacity? That almost has to be all the way up in this situation. Contrast. Right? Brightness. Oops, wait a minute. Brightness. That's all the way down. That's all the way up. I'll put it back. That's like at 20%. Minus 0.7. Gamma. Gamma is at minus 0.44 now. So that's their regular screen. So largely it depends. What if we just turn these... What if I turned up this light I have now 100%? What do I have to do to make that work with regular green, with their default green, color spillage? That almost makes me look old-timey, huh? Opacity. See, I don't think any of these should wind up being 100%. Now, of course, I don't wear makeup. I just do the damn show. So I think the problem here is that the default green, because this is literally a light for this specific purpose. It's one of those circular, good morning, Death Angel Shadow. It's one of those circle lights, and it has the filters on it. If I pop off, let me just pop off the bottom filter. You can see how stark that one is. And if I put that back on, I gotta shove it under there. There we go. Alright, that's more or less. There we go. Alright. So there's that. It's still, I think it's too bright anyway, because it's practically blinding me. I can almost not see the screen. So if I turn it down to nothing, and turn up the brightness here, but you can't see anything behind me. You need to have some light on that green screen to make that work. Isn't there a range? There are actually 6 different... Yeah, let me try something real quick. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do... Are you familiar with OBS software? Have you ever looked into what's that all about? There's like 6 different ranges that you're looking at. I'm going to dump that. I'm going to open up a new image. And we'll do that. And then we'll do that. We'll pick out. I just took a quick screen cap of what it looks like. So there you go. What do you think of that? Johnny on the spot, me, huh? Right? So you've got the key color type, similarity, smoothness, key color spill reduction, opacity, contrast, brightness, and gamma. And check this out. Green, blue, magenta, and then a custom one. I had been using a custom one. It was the closest I could get. When I'm on that regular default green, that does not work very well. If I switch it to this custom green, which is not good either. I'm just going to make that a little smaller so we can see everything in there. I can select any color I want, obviously. What if we go more in this direction? Is that more like what we want? Smoothness. No. Similarity. So, if I look at this green and I try to make this color selection similar to it, what if, oh, here we go. You know what I'm going to do? See, I don't think, it does not have pick screen color. What if we do that? See? Brightness is back down. Gamma. Yep. See, I'm not happy with that either. It's all over the place. I don't know. This needs a lot of tweaking. I need to watch some videos on exactly the best way to make this work, because there's got to be a trick to it. There's got to be some sort of a default way of making this. Let's try that. No, that's not going to work. We'll go back to that. At least I'm there. Right? Good morning. How much light do you have on the green screen behind you? Is that what you're asking? Let me see. on the green screen behind you. Yeah, see, that's a consideration too, but I don't have an easy way to set up lights on the green screen that aren't also on me. I can flood the room with a certain amount of light by opening up blinds and put a lot of light on the green screen behind me. However, that also affects me and does not. That also affects me, but at the same time, that's not light I can count on every day, right? It depends how cloudy it is. Right now, it's pretty cloudy outside. So, a lot of days in the summertime, it's going to be brighter. In the wintertime, that's going to be a lot darker. 9:30 a.m., I mean, I've got sunlight, and it's coming from that direction, theoretically. The screen itself needs to be illuminated well, so it doesn't have shadows in it. Yeah, and I wonder if there's a way to make it smoother too, huh? Right, hence the backlighting, less on you and more on behind you. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Problem is, it's only so wide, as you can see down over here. It's already forced around some furniture and over in this direction. Well, I could go further that way. I could theoretically move it that way and still be on the screen. And then I'm not centered, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know. Could bring the camera closer to me, I suppose. But I don't know if I want my ugly mug that close to the camera. So that's another consideration, right? How much do I care about my audience being able to keep their breakfast down? It is 9:30 in the morning. A lot of people will have just eaten before they tune in. And, some people have weak stomachs. We don't want a lot of, welcome to the OK Regurgitation Show. We do not want that to be the fake name of the show, right? And then this is just, I don't know, it's just there because it's handy to put books on, but that doesn't have to be there. Ha! Mike. Good morning. Wondered if anybody would laugh at my little self-deprecation. All right, so what do we got here? We'll get rid of that. We'll bring back up this. Let's talk cool stuff. Because we're 13 minutes in and we've done nothing except announce that article. Justicar got the Gamehole Con badge this week. Death Angel Shadow. You got one last week, right? Yeah. So you're good to go. And Skull and Pants. Have you gotten a virtual Gamehole Con badge yet? I don't remember. Going back, I'm looking. I should just have this list so I can see exactly who won each different thing. No, not yet. All right, Mike. Were you planning on going? You and some of the family, maybe? Certainly your son. Oh, yeah, you did get dice. Your son certainly must do some online gaming, but does he do virtual tabletop online gaming? That's a question. That's a question I do not know the answer to. See? That's that. We get that. We get that. That looks... See, I'm all washed out too. That's the other problem. I'm always going to be kind of washed out, right? Fade me in like a ghost. Whoa. All right. Well, this is something I need to spend a lot more time with. We'll have to do it this week because I promised last week I was going to do some upgrading. And then I never did because, you really have no excuse when you're not working and you're sheltering at home and that's where the thing is you say you're going to work on. What are you going to do? Anyway, he does Discord Theater of the Mind type of playing. That's cool. Is he, when he does face-to-face gaming, does he enjoy using miniatures? Or is that off the table, so to speak, for him? What about the rest of you? Death Angel Shadow, you too. What about you, Grail Knight? Are you a miniatures user or are you a Theater of the Mind kind of person? Who else is here that's not chiming in? I'm not showing anybody in my users in chat, but I'm showing 5 on the number of people that are supposedly here. So the usual Twitch ambiguities are in play. TOM, Theater of the Mind? No? We use miniatures for battle, says Grail Knight, but if no combat, we do Theater of the Mind. Right on. I use minis when I DM for the family, Skull and Pants says. Death Angel Shadow, we used to always do Theater of the Mind. I did laminate the map with 5-foot squares and had a whiteboard. Yeah, okay. Lexfire 22 got here late. Oh, Lexfire. That's it. Do laps. Do a few laps. You'll do 10 push-ups. No, just fill us in on your regimen. Theater of the Mind, miniatures. What do you do face to face? What do you do when you're VTTing it? Xavier does not do the minis, huh? Okay. When he's DMing, I still never played a game with minis, says Death Angel Shadow. Been playing since 1985. 35 years of gaming, never using minis. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Do you have you mostly played with home groups for long stretches rather than mixing it up at conventions and then game days or at game stores? Because that would be weird to never run into a game where they were using minis that you jumped into as a one-shot or something. Ink Dweller Morning, we're talking about Theater of the Mind versus miniatures and also online versus face-to-face, because you can do one way and one the other way, and they seem like two different styles. But whichever works in the situation, right? Back in the day, first and second edition was primarily Theater of the Mind, says Grail Knight. Now, Virtual Tabletop, says Death Angel Shadow. Well, that changes things a lot. It's true. Good morning, Ink Dweller. Yeah, says Death Angel Shadow. Mostly home. Never been to a real con. Okay. Hey, sometimes they just they don't work out at the right time of year. They're not close to you. You don't get vacation at a certain point. I know a lot of teachers that were always gearing up for the school year at a time when GaryCon used to be later in August all the time. And then when Gen Con, when Gen Con was finally happening a little earlier in August, once every 2 or 3 years, depending on after they moved down to Indianapolis, and they didn't, they weren't the only game in town because you had Brickyard and other big conventions, so they had to take different slots each year to move around. They weren't the only game in town at that point. When Gen Con started happening periodically in the early part of August, suddenly there were a ton of teachers and even students who could go to Gen Con that were never there at previous Gen Cons. So that was interesting. And that's just how it works out sometimes. Heck, says Grell Knight. When I was young and used to DM games in high school, we'd use starburst squares as monsters. Nice. With player miniatures. The house rules was if you dealt a killing blow on a monster, you could eat the candy. Right on. Right on. Yeah, I had a group that used to use gummy bear orcs all the time and gummy this and gummy that. You'd have occasionally have the wild, evil, monstrous Pez dispenser coming at you, and then just various candies. Certainly, gummy worms were always an easy one to use. You don't want to get attacked by an entire bag of Cheetos, because that is both devastating and you get covered in orange dust, which probably in this day and age is the least of your worries. Not too bad. The thing I'm enjoying about using Roll20, it's mainly what I use when I run games, is that I can use it either representationally, or I can use it with an actual grid and run combats like I would run miniatures combat face to face, which I do. I'll use a Chessex mat or some other 5 foot squares type grid for various combats. And most of the groups I've played with, it fluctuates, but some people do seem to prefer Theater of the Mind. When you get that exacting in combat, it throws some people off. It does take away from some people's games because they like the kind of vague outlines of not using miniatures and just being able to say, well, I'm close to combat or I'm not close to combat. They don't like being locked in. Theater of the Mind back in the day, LexFire22 says, 79 and morphed to using minis with gridded table and still some Theater of the Mind. Virtual tabletop's very different, convenient to meet, but different interaction online versus in person. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Sounds like the DM was pretty cheesy. Oh, okay, Mike. Right, with the orange dust. I guess we could have done like a fungus spores or something with the orange cheesy dust from the bottom of the bag, right? I'm playing around with Foundry Virtual Tabletop now. Death Angel Shadow says. It's like Roll20, but it runs on my own server, not someone else's. Showed it to my players at the Saturday game. I don't like giving up control. No, I hear you. The new dynamic lighting that they've been messing around with on Roll20 has had some lag issues. And from what I'm reading in the various venues, forums, YouTube comments on dynamic lighting, because they've just introduced a new setup. The advanced lighting and advanced fog of war They seem to have brought that in line enough to work um, with their app based or I don't know what's the word I'm looking, browser based Roll20 system. But the new dynamic lighting is resource intensive enough that it's causing some issues with crashing. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I prefer a browser-based game. I just don't like having too much stuff getting onto my computer itself. I know cookies and whatever else, right? Um, but when I run my software, it cleans all that stuff off. I find, like for instance, Tabletopia. I use that. It's browser-based. Yucata.de. These are both board game programs. I prefer both of those to tabletop simulation. What's it called? Simulators? I don't know. Tabletop simulator. That one, you got to download something. And every time I try to, because it's a Steam oriented system, and every time I've tried to put Steam on a computer that I've had, it's so invasive, and it just ping, ping, ping. All of my, all of my software just throwing up danger, red flags left and right. And then when I go and I use those to clean all that crap off, and I try to go back to using Steam or Tabletop Simulator, suddenly they don't work because some of the things that they put on the system need to be there for them to work. And I don't want to whitelist that stuff either, because there's a reason my my virus software is telling me that stuff's bad. It's not because they're wrong. It's because Steam and companies that throw that stuff on there as if, well, they'll just let it happen anyway because they really want to play these games. I'm going to have to do without those games. It's just how it is. I have a Discord server too. We've been using that for gaming, but I still need to tweak Foundry and familiarize myself better with it. See, now, there's a question. Running from a Windows PC, which is what I started doing. See, I don't want it on my computer, and I don't want to open up firewalls and let other people into my system to run games either. So, I use it for work. I use the computer for work too. My home system for my Creative Mountain Games stuff, and I have subscriptions to Adobe and to Windows 365, and I don't want any of that stuff compromised because something else is invasive or needs to be on there for the sake of playing a game. It's just not worth it to me to risk it. So I stick with browser-based solutions for gaming online, and that's just where I'll have to be if I can't have the top stuff. I don't know. I haven't tried Astral yet. I understand there's a lot of good stuff on that. Picked it up 2 weeks ago. Really impressed. D&D Beyond connectivity. Yeah, see, D&D Beyond too is another one that it wants to add things onto your system that my rather stringent security software doesn't want added. Just red flags. Foundry is getting a lot of traction with community enhancements. That's cool. D&D Beyond, that doesn't install anything. Just a website. You know what? No, it's not D&D Beyond. What is it? Sorry. I was going out in left field with Magic there. Magic Arena. Magic Arena wanted to install some stuff and wanted me to download something to make it work. And I just wasn't willing to do it. Let's see. Discord Server 2. I'm using that for gaming. The new player guide video for Foundry out. Yeah, there you go. Groovy. Well, you got to use what works for you. And what I'd like to see from you cats, if you want to take the time to do it, if you have web pages or if you have a Facebook account where you can throw up some screenshots of your games when you run them or when you're playing in them, if someone else is DMing, and if, everybody says it's all right, take a few screenshots so we can get an idea how those things are and what they look like, and maybe do a quick, like a quote-unquote battle report, just a quick paragraph, a handful of sentences. This was our mission. This is how we did. This is the number of people that made it. This is the big things we knocked off, and this is the treasure we got, sort of thing. 5, 6 sentences, whatever, that encapsulate what was taking place. So yeah, if you guys don't mind throwing up some stuff like that. I normally do that every game night when I DM. Saturday I forgot to get picks when all my players were there. Yeah, I always try to get at least a couple of picks in the face-to-face games, and then when I start running a virtual tabletop game, I sometimes lose track and forget to take some shots. One of the nice things with the virtual tabletop game is, once everyone's gone, you can take their tokens and put them back more or less in the positions they were in and take a screenshot and, do a sort of a recreation of what was happening during the game. Anywho, we're beyond the 30 minutes, so I probably should wrap it up. Let me close that. Let me close this. Let me look at this. This all looks good. Alrighty. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody. I do want to say, where are we at? There we are. I do want to say the schedule for the rest of the week, of course, as most people know, is on Tuesday. We got cartography and world building. Campaign discussion on Wednesday. Thursdays, game running tips, building adventures on Friday. DM reviews on Saturday. Rules retrospective on Sunday. Back around to the weekly news and announcements next Monday. Again, thank you all for following the channel and chiming in on the stream chat. I like having kind of an open forum on Monday. We should maybe morph this news and announcements into news announcements and questions, open forum, something like that. It's good. We get everyone's opinion. We get some information about different virtual tabletop systems and how they're working out for people and what they think of them. This is all good stuff. It helps everybody else have a better game too. If you're catching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Be sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, maybe make a comment. And we always like constructive criticism. Chime in during the stream chat, like Article Justicar. You could wind up with a virtual Gamehole Con badge. Like I said, we've got 11 or 12 of us in this group alone that are already going, so we should have our own little, I don't know, not a booth. How do you want the pictures, links? I think you can, next Monday, why don't we have everybody just drop me links in my whispers, and then I can drop them into the chat, and that way I don't have to mess around with any settings or whatever for the modding. I could just grab them from the one and put them in the other. It's just that easy, right? At some point, I'm going to have to get better with the whole dealing with the chat thing. And I don't want to, I don't know. You know, I get into some of these, all right, soapbox time, right? Before we go. I get into some of these channels, and they're just so busy in the chat with everybody spending and getting points and getting rewards and playing with emojis, and it's next to impossible to read. There's no real conversations going on. The people in the channel, well, they're supposed to be doing something else that's actually like an entertainment, are so busy trying to be interactive with their chat that they don't wind up doing anything or expressing any opinions or having any kind of a show or a theme or anything. It just becomes this this orgy of bits and coins and points, and it's like, I don't know. I guess I guess that's a game in and of itself, right? But there you go. Maybe I'm the OK Grognard for a reason. Anyway, have a great one. Thank you very much, and we will see you later in the week. Hopefully tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. So, bye-bye.